Right, so let's just start by finding a nice, comfortable seat and just kind of peek down, see that knees are landing underneath your ankles. If you're joining us on YouTube with this video, you could be doing this practice seated if that feels more comfortable in your body. You know your body. If you're a little shorter, you might want to just grab a blanket or some blocks to place under your feet. So you want to have this sensation of knees coming out directly from hips. So you can make any little adjustments that you need to, and it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. But finding a nice, comfortable seat here, resting hands down on your thighs, and then go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And you're going to do that a few more times. So as you inhale, notice how the rib cage fills up with air, it expands, it's very three-dimensional. And then as you exhale through your mouth, just sigh out any tension. Notice how the rib cage starts to contract inward. And then just do that as many times as you need to, just at your own pace. And then as you feel ready, you're going to start to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose, creating a soft rush of air in the back of your throat. And exhaling through your nose, so creating that same soft rush of air. It sounds like ocean waves rolling in and out. So we can really use this sound to help us draw inward, to focus. That being said, there's going to be distractions. We're going to hear sounds in the room around us. We're going to hear sounds outside of the room that we're in. Our attention is going to go there. That's okay. It's going to happen. But when you know you've gone there, just notice it and come back to your breath. And then the flip of that is that there's sounds happening in our head. There's a lot of chatter, a lot of thoughts. It's much harder to turn all of that off. And I don't think that we need to entirely. We move towards getting those moments of stillness, those pockets. And we start to string more and more of those together. But the same idea applies. If you notice that you've attached to a thought or to an idea, just smile at yourself, let it go, come back to your breath. So much as we do these asana, these different poses to build strength and flexibility, we also work at building the mindfulness muscle. Observe if you're starting to slouch at all, if there's any tension inside your body. So sometimes the shoulders start to creep up around the ears. Just let them go. Often we hold tension around the eyes, in the jaw. We start to clench the teeth. So soften there as well. And then sometimes we also start to grip a little bit. So we can clench fingers and toes, grip the toes. Notice if any of that is happening in your body. And again, just breathe some space to those places. Here, another moment or two, just soaking up this quiet, which is so important, I think, especially this time of year. The holidays are wonderful, but there's often a lot going on, so it can feel a little chaotic and stressful sometimes. Think about what you love about the holidays. Maybe it's the white twinkly lights. So be with that idea and with your breath. Good. Take a nice deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. Let it go. And then let's just just find a little movement in the body. So you can shake, you can wiggle, you can rock forward, kind of a little free for all. So whatever feels good, you can reach arms up overhead. So just kind of shake and wiggle all of the tension out of your body. It's like a little yoga class dance party. Good. And then when you've got all of the wiggles out of you, just come back to that nice place of stillness, so that comfortable seat. And then let's do a little lateral side to side stretching as we start to connect breath with movement. So let's release our arms by our side. And as you inhale, let's reach our right arm up and over. So keep rooting down into your sit bones, especially starting out. This movement can be really small. As you exhale, release down. Inhale, left arm comes up and over. Beautiful work. As you exhale, you release. Inhale up and over. And you are certainly welcome to close your eyes here if that feels good to you. You're just moving with your breath at your pace. If your eyes are open, try to keep your gaze soft and gentle in front of you, so you're not really attaching to anything with your eyes. We're going to do several rounds like this. So as we gently begin to warm up the body, you might find that you can lean off a little further to each side, and it doesn't matter if that's happening. Good work here. You've got it, Chris. Nice. That looks good, Kelly. Oh, I love it. You guys look great. Let's do a couple more to each side, and then we'll come into hold on each side. Great work. So the next time that right arm is reaching up and over, you can just hold there, and you can be releasing left arm down. You can hold on to some chair if you need a little leverage. See if you can begin to spin those left ribs up towards the ceiling a little bit. So in addition to this really nice lateral stretch, you're also getting a little twist. And if you need to release this top arm down at any point, that's absolutely fine. And that's true for any of these poses. If the holds seem too long, you just take a little break whenever you need to. So this is really your practice. I think one of the best things we can do in our yoga practice is listen to ourselves and make adjustments. So as you exhale, let's go ahead and release that right arm down. And then inhale, lift the left arm up and over. So the same thing, you're trying to root down into both sit bones. Feels like the eye of the elbow is spinning inward. So you might be spinning your palm to face behind you in that top arm. As you do that, you're spinning these right ribs up. So one of the fun things about yoga is all these little opposite actions happening inside the body. So it keeps us engaged. It challenges us. And sometimes these things are really hard to find. They're subtle. Beautiful work. One more deep inhale. And then as you exhale, release down. And let's move into a little just seated cat-cow here. So starting to warm up the spine, just these gentle kind of forward folding and back bending. And if you're practicing at home, watching this video on YouTube, if you're comfortable with a classic cat-cow, you can do that too. Otherwise, seated is really nice. You can also do this if you're seated on the floor. So a lot of little different variations. But just finding this nice mountain pose, this nice seat here. So you're kind of in the center of your sit bones starting out. As we inhale, we're gonna rock to the front of the sit bones, and you're gonna find this arch in your lumbar, the lower back, and you can feel the chest coming through the gates of your shoulders. Elbows can gently be squeezing in here. As you exhale, you rock to the back of your sit bones. We start to arch, or rather round in the lumbar, so coming into that cat stretch. Inhaling into the cow stretch. Exhale, round in. It might feel like you're tucking your chin ever so slightly. And then again, I just want you to continue like this. We're going to do a couple minutes here, just letting it feel really good. So you might be able to just find that pace that feels right in your body today. If you're feeling a little lethargic today, maybe you speed your breath up a little bit so you move faster than you normally would. So conversely, if you're feeling a little stressed out or agitated, perhaps you start to slow your breath down. So in this sense, we're using our breath as this tool to sort of modulate how we're feeling energetically, kind of help shift things. And then as we continue to do this for like another minute here, I just want you to notice if your spine feels like it's opening up at all, if your shoulders feel like they're opening up. And then maybe observe too, just the effect that moving with the breath has on your mind. So for a lot of us, when we move like this, when we find a little flow, a little rhythm, it's easier to quiet the brain, as opposed to just being static in a pose. Good, couple more rounds. And then coming back to your nice seat. So finding your mountain pose, making any little adjustments that you need to. And we're gonna come into our seated pigeon pose, so a hip opener, and I'll give you variations if you can't do, if that isn't working for you today. So option one would be to just keep rooting down into this left foot, and then you can cross your right ankle above that left thigh. So if that feels okay in your body, you're welcome to go there. For some of us, that might not be in the cards. So another good way to get into that hip opener is just to open up this right thigh any amount. So you can play around with what feels good. And we're just gonna be here for a few moments. So just getting into this nice hip stretch, you're going to feel it potentially in the glute, outer hip. You might take your right hand, especially if you're a little more flexible, and gently press down. Conversely, if you have that leg to open up, you can press back. So that's just introducing a little more stretch, and you might not need it. So we're all built really different. Some days we're tighter than others. So again, just not thinking that this pose needs to look like it did the last time that you did it. Just knowing that it needs to look like how it feels best in your body today. And you're getting curious about the sensations that you're feeling, you're noticing. All right, so you're welcome to just stay where you're at. If you'd like to get into the core a little bit, you can inhale, reach your arms up. And again, you can do this in any variation. Imagine that as somebody is gently pulling up on your forearms, so you're getting a little more length and extension. Beautiful work. These all look really good. And then a couple of options here. So you could stay here like this if it feels good. You can release your arms whenever you need to. Maybe palms come to heart center and you start to hinge forward any amount, and that's going to intensify sensation. I start to feel a little more in the lower back. You might get that. Finally, a few of us might fold over this front leg, and this would be a really great place if you have blocks. You can just rest your hands on the blocks, and this is almost like a little flying pigeon prep, a little arm balance pose that you're doing. So you can go brag to everybody today about your yoga. Good, couple more breaths. And then wherever you're at, nice and slow, you're gonna start to roll on up. And we're gonna let that side go. We're gonna come into our second side, which might look different than the first. So have any props nearby that you need. And again, you can either cross that left ankle above your right knee. You might just find a hip opener here like this, so opening up that left thigh. If you're in the seated version, you can take your left hand, gently press down into that left thigh. It's like you're trying to draw your knee closer to the floor. If you are in more of this kind of like a warrior two leg, you can take your hand to the inside of that thigh and press back behind you. And these hip stretches can be pretty intense. So send your breath to the spots that are tight. Nice, Jim. Good. Breath smooth and steady. You all have beautiful, beautiful focus right now. Okay. So if this is a good place to be, this is where you stay. If you'd like to, inhale your arms up for a couple of breaths. So see how tall, how long you can get through the sides of your waist. Chris, reach arms up, 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 up. Up with your arms, Chris. Yes, you got it. Good work. Good work. All right. And then you can stay here like this. You can come back to where you were before. If you want to bring palms to heart center, you can stay like this, upright. Maybe you start to hinge forward and you can hang like this. If you want to come in a little deeper, you might forward fold all the way. And again, great, great place to place hands on blocks. And then just check in. Have you lost the thread of your breath at all? If you have, come back to that sound of your Ujjayi breath. So that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. Beautiful work, everyone. Nice and slow as you inhale, start to roll back up to seated. Good, and then if you had that left leg out wide, bring it in or uncross the ankle here. Find your mountain pose, Tadasana. And then we're gonna come into another seated posture here. So we're gonna come into our Gomukhasana, our eagle legs, our Garudasana, eagle legs and eagle arms. So if you're at home, you could be doing this on your back if that feels easier in your body as well. But first, let's just find this nice seat. And we'll do the same thing. We'll start on our right side and go to the left side. All right, so this time, as opposed to crossing ankle over knee just above the thigh, we're gonna take that right thigh and cross it all the way over. If you're watching this via YouTube and you're seated, you can just cross your right shin in front of your left. You might be able to bring knees to stack on top of each other. That's a little harder for most of us, so you can move in that direction. And then finally, you might be doing this on your back, so you could just cross right thigh over left thigh if that's where you're at today. All right. So as you're here, I want you to put your brain into the outer hips a little bit. And this might be more like just esoteric, more of a thought. That's okay. But I want you to imagine like there's vice grips attached to your outer hips and they're squeezing inward. And maybe you're going to find that that helps to engage the legs a little more. You might even feel the lower belly pull in and up. Good. So hold on to all of that action with the leg, even if it's just a thought. So mostly we're just feeling really grounded and steady and kind of compact here. Then we're going to take our arms out nice and wide. And we're going to give ourselves a hug. We're going to take the right arm under, left arm over. So you can just grab the outer edges of your shoulder blades. Elbows might be stacking, they might not. I want you to start to lift your elbows up towards the ceiling a little bit. And as you do that, you're going to feel a little stretch in the backs of your shoulders. See if you can keep those shoulder blades releasing down. You're welcome to stay here. Maybe you bring the backs of your hands together. Maybe you can reach around and press palms. So they're all stretching the same thing. They're just different variations. Nice work. Wherever you're at, elbows lift, shoulder blades release down. Good work, everyone. Are you breathing? Nice, Amy. Okay, so as you're here, let's find a little back bend. So let me show this from the side. So maybe start to lean your head back. Bring your gaze up, if that feels okay to do. And you'll feel a nice stretch through the front of the throat. You're going to feel it in the shoulders a little more. And then start to upright yourself here. And then if you would like to hinge forward, you might be able to do that. Perhaps even hooking that left elbow to the right knee. Nice, Scott. Breath smooth and steady. And it's worth mentioning, especially coming into some of these forward folds, if you feel unsteady there, if you ever feel like you're going to lose your balance, you don't need to do them. You can skip them. So again, you're inhaling up, releasing, always being really mindful about where we are on any given day. So the yoga practice is always shifting. It's very fluid, even though we're doing, the same poses all the time. So you can uncross your right thigh and just take a breath or two here in your mountain pose. And then we'll begin to take that to the second side. So you're going to cross left thigh entirely over right thigh. And again, you might be seated, you might be laying down if you're doing this on YouTube. So that works for sure. And then find that idea of outer hips squeezing in. So it's like everything is contained and compact and moving into the midline. Good. And then we're going to take our arms out wide. And we're going to give ourselves that hug again. This time we're going to take our left arm underneath, right arm over. So moving towards elbow stacking, that may or may not happen. Wherever you're at though, elbows can start to lift up, but feel your shoulder blades release down your back towards your sit bones. Are you breathing? That inhale through your nose. That exhale through your nose. So nice little shoulder stretch here. Working the legs a lot. If you would like, start to lift the elbows a little higher so we find a little sense of back bending. You might even release your neck back if that feels okay in your body. Maybe start to bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. On an inhale, you start to upright yourself. Then again, you can stay here if you'd like to hinge forward and come in. Maybe you can hook left elbow to right knee. And see if you can find a little back bending in your upper spine as you come into this forward fold, whatever it looks like. So a lot of variations. And just remember that side to side, we might not be doing the same variation as we did on the other side. That's okay. And then inhale. Let's roll on up and then just let it go. And you can uncross that right or left thigh rather, just coming back to your mountain pose. And let's move into a few rounds of sun salutes, and then I'd like to go towards some standing poses. So our warrior two, our reverse warrior, and our side angle pose. But before we do that, let's just find a little flow in the body. So blocks can be really nice on either side of your feet here. If you have them, you could use books. If you don't have them, that's okay too. We can modify. All right, so sitting tall. Peek down at your feet. Just make sure that they're about hips distance apart. And then you can bring your gaze forward. And we're going to start to move here. So as you inhale, you can either reach your arms out and up. It might feel better to reach them forward and up. So both are good. So coming into our extended mountain pose, you might even bring your gaze up here. And then as you exhale, again, a couple of options. You might reverse swan dive in. It might feel better to bring hands to heart center and fold, or use your hands on your thighs. So coming into this forward fold, a great variation is to have a chair in front of you. If it's hard to get into these forward folds in your body. As you inhale, you're going to press your hands to your blocks or to the chair in front of you, or you could have your hands on your thighs. Chest is going to lengthen forward. Gaze comes forward. So we're not sitting upright. We're kind of halfway between the forward fold and our mountain pose. Good. As you exhale, you fold back in. And then you root down. Stretch arms out and up, forward and up. Maybe use your hands to help you roll up. And then we reach up, 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 up. Chris, reach up. Chris, reach your fingers to the sky. Yes, good, good, good. And then as we exhale, hands come to heart center. Nice work. Good job. All right, we're going to connect that all together. So one movement per breath. And you just go at your pace. Stretch arms up. So if I'm cueing a little slower or faster than you would like to go, move with your breath. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen forward. Ardha Uttanasana. Ardha means half. Exhale, fold into your full Uttanasana. Inhale, press down. Stretch arms up. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So we have 3 or 4 more, depending upon how quickly you're moving today. I'm not going to cue you, so you can just follow along with me if you're at home. Otherwise, if you know what you're doing here, just start to flow as you feel ready. You can add, subtract. Mostly let these feel really good in your body. Just find this rhythm here. Listening to your breath. These look so lovely. You might find yourself smiling a little bit. I think it's pretty much impossible not to smile while doing these sun salutes. They just have a way of feeling really good. Anytime your attention wanders, you come back to your breath. Beautiful work, everyone. So when you've completed that third or fourth round, you're just pausing in your Tadasana pose. Close your eyes. Check in. Notice how you're feeling. And so these sun salutes can build a little heat inside our body. So your heart might be beating faster. You might be breathing a little faster. These are all good things. You might feel a little more spacious in your body, in your head. Just observing all of it. And then blinking your eyes open. Good, you can release your hands down. So we are gonna move to warrior two, our reverse warrior, and then our extended side angle pose. So we'll just demo that really quick so you can see where we're going. So we're gonna hold each of those poses and then we'll flow it together a little bit. So there's going to be a couple of options for our warrior two. So opening the thigh, as you may have when we were doing that seated pigeon stretch. So you can simply stay here like this, just with left knee bent and forward. You might extend that left leg to straight. You might be able to open that leg up. So this all just kind of depends on how you're feeling inside your body. So warrior two, we'll extend our arms up and we'll take several breaths here. We'll then come into our reverse warrior, so kind of that lateral stretch. And then we are going to come into our side angle pose, so going in the opposite direction. So, and then we'll thread all of that together with the breath a couple of times, but that's where we're headed. So from your seat, you're gonna open up that right hip. It doesn't have to be very deep at all. And then you're going to decide what variation with the left leg feels best in your body. So again, you can just keep the knee bent. What we're really going for is this hip opening in this right leg. So it doesn't matter so much what this one is doing. You can extend that leg to straight if that feels okay. You could even take it off to the side any amount. And if you're doing that, you can start to fall to the inner edge of the foot. So the big toe side of that left foot. And just for a visual here really quick, so the standing version of this pose looks like so. So I have a nice steep bend, the hip opener in this right thigh. You want to give yourself enough space so that you can get it nice and deep there. And then you can see that I am releasing this left hip down. So I'm not trying to square hips forward, opening up front hip, releasing this left hip down. And then I do try to square my torso to the front of the room. So we are doing that here. Sometimes it's just nice to see what the pose looks like. So find where you need to be here. And then you could just pretend that there's a wall behind this right knee and you're pressing that right knee into the wall. And then I want you to not to think about your lower body, but just bring your torso to face forward. Good. Inhale, stretch your arms up. So without changing where your torso's at in space, just start to gaze out over your right fingertips. And when you need to take breaks with your arms, you do so. Sometimes what happens here is the shoulders creep up around the ears, so soften them down. Beautiful work, and your breath is smooth and steady. Notice if there's any tension in your face or jaw. Nice, Tammy. These all look beautiful. Yeah, good work, Chris. Good work. Okay, so I want you to flip your top palm, the eye of the elbow, to face up towards the ceiling in that right arm. And then you're gonna reach up and over. Yeah. So it's that little lateral side to side stretching that we're doing. And you can release your left hand to your thigh. It can just reach down by your side. You might be able to hold a piece of chair. Beautiful, Kelly. Yes, Jim, you got it. Other way, other hand, Jim. Yes, beautiful. Good, you might be looking up underneath that top arm. That looks great, Scott. Good, so as we inhale, let's come back up to our warrior two. And then we go in the opposite direction. So think lots of length through this left side as you start to hinge at that right hip. You can just bring your elbow to your thigh. And then let's just start with that top arm reaching up, and you might just stay there. Maybe you begin to reach it all the way up and over. So this extended side angle pose. As you reach through those left fingertips, find that extension on the left side of your body. Can you continue to wrap your right ribs up ever so slightly? So super challenging pose. These look great. As you inhale, come back up to center. And then just release your arms down. You can keep your right leg where it's at if that feels okay. If you need a little break with the leg, you could bring it in. We're gonna just take a breath, a few breaths here, kind of come back to center. And then we're gonna thread all of that together with the breath. And we're gonna just stick to this side here. And then we'll go into the left side. All right, and I'll just give you the visual quick, really, where we're going with the breath. So we're gonna inhale, come into our warrior two. We'll take an exhale. Inhale, we're gonna reverse our warrior. And then the exhale this time, we're gonna make our way into that extended side angle pose. You could also be like this. You could also just have left hands on hips. Inhale, we'll reverse. Exhale. We'll come into that extended side angle pose, and then we'll inhale back into our warrior two. Good, so that's where we're headed. So if you came back to center with your right leg, go ahead and open up there. So torso facing forward. Just a couple of rounds on this side. Inhale, arms reach up, warrior two. So gaze out over those right fingertips. Take an exhale. Inhale, flow into your reverse warrior. Oh, beautiful. And then as you exhale, flow into your extended side angle pose. These look lovely. Inhale, up and over, reverse warrior. Let's exhale, come back into that extended side angle pose. Wrap right ribs up. Beautiful work. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. As you exhale, release your arms down and then start to bring that right leg back to center. And we're going to take that little sequence, our little warrior dance, to the second side. So we're gonna open up this left thigh. And again, lots of options here. You can just stay with right knee bent. You can extend that leg to straight. You might open up and roll a little bit to the inner edge of the foot. They're all really great variations. And just find your sit bones, make sure that you're anchoring down there. And then, so again, you can kind of see that these left ribs, my left ribs are rocking back. It's almost like I'm gonna kind of bring my torso to face out over that right leg. We don't want that. We want to face forward with our torso. So you might need to drag right waist back, left waist forward a little bit. Hold on to that. Inhale, arms reach up. And then keep torso facing forward. Just bring your gaze out over your left fingertips. And it feels kind of counterintuitive when we're holding our arms up here like this, which is a lot of work. Sometimes if you can firm the muscle to bone a little more, it actually makes it a little easier to hold them up. Not always. But see if that's true for you. Beautiful, beautiful work. And you take breaks whenever you need to. Okay, so go ahead and flip your left palm, the eye of the elbow, to face up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, top arm comes up and over, and you can just release that right hand down. You can rest on your thigh. Spin your right ribs up towards the ceiling, maybe gazing up underneath that top arm. Beautiful work. Nice, Amy. Gorgeous, guys. As you inhale, you're going to come back to your warrior two. And then as we exhale, you hinge forward at that left waist. Elbow to thigh, top arm reaches up, and you might just stay here like this with that arm extended straight. You have the mobility in your shoulders and it feels okay. You can start to extend that top arm. It's like you're going to do a little freestyle stroke in the pool, little crawl stroke. And then you might be gazing up underneath that top arm. These look beautiful. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Takes a little time to love this pose. Good. Inhale back up to your warrior two. And then as you exhale, release your arms down. And we're going to take a few breaths here, a little break before we flow that together. If you feel like you need to bring your left thigh back in, by all means, do so. So those big, big hip opener happening in these standing warrior poses. All right, so we're going to flow that together, just a couple rounds to each side. So open up that left leg if it's not already. All right, here we go. As you inhale, arms reach up, Virabhadrasana 2. Take an exhale, really ground down into your sit bones. And then as we inhale, we find our reverse. Left arm comes up and over, wrap right ribs up. As you exhale, extend out into Utthita Hasta Parsvakonasana. Inhale back into your reverse. These look lovely. As you exhale, it's so fun to see everybody's screen moving together here. And then we inhale back into our Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale, release, and then just use your left hand to draw that leg in, move it forward, heel toe it forward, and then just find your nice mountain pose. Close your eyes here. And let's all take a deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, make some sounds. Ha. And then before we have Sam playing for us for the last 10 minutes of class, let's visit our wave breath. Again, so as you'll recall, with our wave breath on our inhale, with each inhale, we sip in a little more. So you could just imagine that you're sitting on a beach and just watching as a set of waves comes in, and usually the ones further out are gaining a little more steam. So they're coming in a little bigger. So it's kind of that same idea. So you're going to take about 4 or 5 rounds to really deepen and expand your inhale. So for example, you might, we'll kind of inhale to our belly button, exhale normal. Second round, you'll inhale a little bit higher, so slightly above your belly button, exhale the breath out normal. You'll inhale up to your floating ribs, so those lower ribs that aren't attached, and then you'll exhale normal. Inhale to the bottom of your breastbone, exhale the breath out, and then you'll inhale all the way up. And then turn the breath around, exhale it out. And I'm going to let you go at your own pace, so it feels a little different for us. And you can't do this wrong. If it just simply feels better for you today to just sit here and breathe, inhale nice and even, exhale nice and even, you're welcome to do that too. So closing your eyes, take a couple of normal rounds of breath. And then you'll go ahead and start to move into that round of wave breath. So first inhale, pretty shallow. Exhale out. Inhale a little more. Exhale the breath out. Inhale a little more still. Exhale the breath out. Inhale. Notice where the breath is expanding in the rib cage. Exhale, release. And then one more. So this is your biggest breath yet. Don't let it feel forced though. And then exhale the air out. And just return to normal breathing. Good. And then you're welcome to do one more full cycle like that if you would like to. Otherwise, if you're ready to start to move towards your shavasana, you can do that as well. So whatever that looks like. If you want to just come into classic shavasana on the floor, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, just being seated might feel nice. If you have a table in front of you or another chair or a desk, you might come into a supported child's pose, which can feel really relaxing and calming. So mostly just finding a place where you can end that feels comfortable. And I'm going to put me on mute. And we have Sam here and
Here we go. Yeah.
So let your next inhale be deeper. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Start to bring some gentle movement back to your body. So wiggle, stretch, anything that feels good here. And then bringing your palms in a pile on top of your heart. So first and foremost, let's send Sam love and gratitude. Just thanking him for sharing his guitar with us this afternoon. Let's send ourselves love and gratitude for showing up, for working hard. It's not always easy, but it does make a difference. And finally, just promise yourself that you're going to carry this feeling you've created with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you. Thank you, Sam.